Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Friday, November the 17th, 2023. And it's time to shake, rattle, and hum, guys. Get yourself a cup of coffee, get your Bible, go to Proverbs chapter 17, and let's share a short morning word this morning. Kind of an educational word. Oh, Lord, why did that happen? All right, there we go. Hey, Diane and Gail. Good morning to all of you ladies. What's going on? And we're also going to be in Genesis. Hey, Jim Mathis. We're going to be in Genesis 16. Willie Williams. Willie, are you still in Wyoming? Hey, Doug Jones. Good morning, Gail. You tell them, Bran. Tell them, Bran. Kim Barnett. Yes, ma'am. Camellia. Willie, are you having to, hey Nicole, you having to tough it out in Wyoming? I tell you what, dude, you need to tell Stan Pate that Randy Fuller said, Randy Fuller, he knows me, that I said he needs to spring for about $1,000 to cover my traveling expenses to go to Wyoming with you and just to be your accountability partner. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you're not squandering his money while you up there in cowboy land. EJ. Hey, Miss Faye, shout out to you too. Rhonda, tell Bubba to get up and put his feet on the floor. Good Lord of mercy. The older he gets, the sorrier he gets. Tell him to get up. Hey, Ken. Hey, buddy. Hey, Al. Hey, Sharon. And Miss Victory. Been missing you, Miss Victory. Be glad when you're able to get back. Hey, Brenda. There's Chris on the bus getting ready to rally the kids. And Jamie and Miss Linda Parker. Good morning. Camellia. Tess. Find out. There. Oh, look at them right there. Back to back. There they are. Who is the giver? Oh, Stan? Yeah, Stan. Tell old Stan that hook a brother up. Hey, Kay. Hey, Al. Hey, Donna. Yeah, you're on time this morning, Donna. Good morning. Hey, Nikki. Yeah, I know Stan well. Real well. EJ. Yes, ma'am. You too, Victory. EJ, I saw that picture you put of your young self on Facebook. Good pick. Good pick. Somebody said you needed a beard with that kind of face. Well, don't feel bad about that. They told me that I had a face for radio. All right, y'all ready to go? Let's go. Toast to the Morning Word crowd. God bless you and God bless America. Woo-hoo. We are in Proverbs. Proverbs. Hey, Nick, what's going on? We are in Proverbs chapter 17 this morning. Now, I was reading this morning. I didn't even get to finish the chapter because when I got to this verse, I just got to thinking about some things. I said, I want to talk about that this morning and post some things about that this morning on Facebook. I made a short post. But look at verse 11. Proverbs 17:11. An evil man seeks only rebellion. Therefore, a cruel messenger will be sent against him. An evil man seeks only rebellion. Therefore, a cruel messenger will be sent against him. There are people in this world, and they're all over the world, that they're just mad. And they really don't even know what they're mad about. They was born mad, they live mad, and they're going to die mad. And they just have what my papa would say is a burr under their saddle. And it may be with you today and someone else tomorrow, but they just have something in them that just cannot, they have an itch that just cannot be scratched. They have something about them, just just angry people, and along with that is just unhappy people. All right, just unhappy people. And you couldn't satisfy them with ice cream. So when we look at it, now here's something that we need to remember. All of us as human beings are fallen in our nature from Adam. And consequently, we are a dissatisfied people in our spirit and in our soul until we meet the Redeemer, the Prince of Peace, Jesus Christ. He's the only one that can bring inner peace to stop that inner turmoil. So I'm not picking on any particular people group here. I'm just highlighting some things that Scripture talks about. So there are evil people. It's evil people, i.e. unredeemed people, that seek rebellion. Now, I got to thinking, it's just as quick as I read this morning, I got to thinking about what's going on in the world. And not only in the Middle East, but also within the borders of our country and really all over the world, if you want to just take the time to look. There is extreme unrest and anger and resentment. The poor people are angry because they're poor. The minorities are angry because they're a minority. White people are angry because everybody's picking on white folks as being responsible for their problems, and so forth and so on. But there is a people group that I want to kind of look at this morning. And again, we all have our faults and failures. So if anyone gets this video and shares it, I am not declaring war, okay? And I'm not picking on any people. I'm just making some let's do that. I'm just making some observations, okay? The Middle East has been at war since the beginning, and for a lot of reasons. But particularly in this era, modern era, meaning from Christ onward, the land formerly known as Palestine was occupied by a people group that was the Middle East, Palestine, that was an angry people. And they displaced the Jewish people. Now, let me tell you, the Jews were their own worst enemies. The reason the Jews have gone to hell and back, and we as Gentiles ought to be glad, because it was through their fall that we've been grafted in to Christ. But the Jews, if you'll remember this statement, when Jesus was being tried, the leaders of Israel, the Jewish spiritual leaders said, with regard to Pilate, his blood be upon us and upon our children. That's what they said. And baby, they've been paying hell. They've been paying hell since that day. But going all the way back, even though they are right now suffering because of their rejection of Christ, they still have the favor of God on their life because of the promises that God made to Abraham. In other words, God's disciplining Israel, the Jewish people, but he's controlling that to bring them to faith. There is, however, another segment, and that is the Arabs, the sons of Ishmael. And if you go over to Genesis chapter 16, this is what I was talking about earlier in my intro. God has come to intervene with Hagar. She has a child, and she's leaving because Sarah has brought hell down on her in the house. Y'all know the story. So in Genesis 16, verse 9, it says, "And the angel of the Lord said to her, Return to your mistress and submit yourself under her hand. Then the angel of the Lord said to her, I will multiply your descendants exceedingly." Okay? And so that they shall not be counted for multitude. So now there is a promise being made to Hagar about her son. All right? Now here's why the child's going to be blessed. Okay? The child's going to be blessed because he is a son of Abraham. But he is not the promised son, Isaac. It was through Isaac that the Jewish nation came forth. It was through Ishmael that the nomadic Arabic tribes came forth. Look at what it says. I will multiply your descendants exceedingly so that they shall not be counted for multitude. And the angel of the Lord said to her, Behold, you are with child. You shall bear a son. You shall call his name Ishmael. Because the Lord has heard your affliction. He shall be a wild man. His hand shall be against every man. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. Who is the presence of his brethren? Who is his brethren? Isaac, sons of Isaac, the Jews. It is a sordid and complicated story in history about the Arab-speaking people. But just in a nutshell, ask yourself this morning, why is it that the Saudis don't want the Palestinians? Quote, the Palestinians. Palestine was an area, it wasn't a state. It was an area called Palestinia by the Romans that went from the Mediterranean Sea all the way to the Tigris and Euphrates River. And so the Palestinian people now, they're called Palestinians because they said that they originated from Palestine. Well, the truth of the matter is, go do your history, and I posted it on Facebook. Palestine was a geographical area, it wasn't a state. And the Palestinian people, so to speak, not the Saudi Arabians, but the Palestinian people, this is why the Saudis don't want them, okay? This is why the surrounding people don't want them. And there's a video clip of a Saudi guy. He gives a great history of these people in a video on YouTube. And he tells of their origin. And what happened was when the Ottoman Empire, Rome got so big it split in two. You had Western Rome and Eastern Rome. The Eastern Rome was known as the Byzantine Empire. Okay, the Muslim-speaking people coming from the Muslim people coming from the Arabic-speaking people, the Prophet Muhammad, they dispersed and from that area and went in up to all the Muslim faith went into all the world surrounding area. Well, Rome got so big it had to divide, and Constantinople, which is now Istanbul, Turkey, became the headquarters or the capital, so to speak, of the Eastern Byzantine Roman Empire. The Ottomans, which were predominantly what we now call Turkey, the Ottomans, which were the Muslim groups, they attacked Constantinople and overcame it, and consequently took over all of the Eastern Romanish Empire, to include Palestine, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Asia, so forth. So the Ottomans ruled it. Well, the Ottomans brought in Muslim-speaking people from the Bosnia, from the Caucasus, the Russian Caucasus, and the other areas up north, and brought them in, and then later brought them in from the northern Horn of Africa, from Sudan, and some of those places. And so there was an amalgamation of ethnicities in Palestine brought in, that they were all Muslim, but there was a plethora, how do you like that word, a plethora of Muslim people brought into Palestine that had no home now. They had no country of origin, so to speak. They've been relocated. These became the Palestinians. So coming from A, Ishmael, a warring people, B, Muhammad, Islam, a warring people, and being located in the area called Palestine, living in the presence of the Jews. Now, during the First World War, the Ottoman Empire allied itself with the Central Axis. That was Germany and Austria, and they were defeated. And Britain and Western Europe took over ownership. They defeated the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire fell shortly there at the end of World War I, and Britain took the land of Palestine as a possession. They owned it. And long story, but the Jews made a plea that they wanted their homeland, and Britain at that time, right after World War I, made a Balfour Declaration by Lord Balfour that they would give the land to the Jews and they could create a state with it. And so the Jews began to move into Palestine. Mind you now that there's still these plethora of Palestinian refugees, meaning refugees from other countries, not made refugees by the Jews. And so the Jews start coming back to their country, and biblically the land was given to them by God through Abraham, and then legally the land was given to them by Britain, and they formed a state. And from that point forward, when they decided to make a state, and eventually in 1948 they did, Israel became a formalized nation with borders. Those displaced Ishmael, sons of Ishmael, and followers of Muhammad, angry men, have had nothing but rebellion all their life. It's how they are raised. It's in their DNA, and those people found their way into Iraq. Those people found their way into Turkey. Those people found their way, and everywhere they've gone, they've raised more hell than a broke-winged duck. And they don't want to divide the land with the Jews. They want to remove the Jews from the face of the earth. They have a chant that they sing all the time, and that they were singing when they were attacking on October 7th. And that is this: from the sea to the river, from the river to the sea, it shall be free. Free of what? Free of the Jews. They want to drive them into the Mediterranean Sea and obliterate them. And that's why you have a Middle Eastern conflict. Now, the Muslims divided into the Sunni and the Shia, and they despise each other. That's now you can find them, the main Shia headquarters, Iran, main Sunni headquarters, Saudi Arabia. They hate each other. They war. But the only time the Sunnis and the Saudis will lay down their arms against each other is to pick up their arms against what? The Jews and the Americans. We're called the Great Satan. And all the way dating back to the Bible, there has been animosity between the sons of Ishmael and the sons of Isaac and the Muslims and the Judeo-Christian people. So there you have it. Wild men. Wild men. Now, here's something that everybody would be wise to keep in mind. You need to, if you're going to have to pick a side. And the reason our streets are divided today is because our people, particularly our young people, are as dumb as a sack of rocks. And the only history that they know is what these liberal professors have taught them in school. Do your history. These are a warring people. They are mad. And it goes all the way back to Genesis chapter 16. And it goes forth into the 600s with Muhammad. And it plays out right now into what we have today in the Middle East and in the streets of America. And all around the globe, look at it. The news saying pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian, or pro-Israel. The world is dividing over this. And that is a point that God's going to make, because God is going to draw the nations to war in Israel. He's going to draw the nations to war and to show that the Jews that he is God and bring them to faith, and to show the world that the God of the Jews is God, and he's going to destroy them for their rejection of Christ. Wild men. It'll never be fixed until the fixer gets back. That's our history lesson and our morning word. Wild men. We'll see you Monday, good Lord willing, and the saints don't rise.